Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I, Varun Mansari, welcome you in this session where we would be discussing the impact of abrogation of Article 370 and 35A in Jammu and Kashmir state. This is being broadcasted on our VR1 YouTube channel. This discussion has been organized by International Institute of J K Studies and Analysis, that is IIJSA, of which I am the co-convener. IIJSA has been a pilot project started in Jammu with the aim to ensure that the correct version of voices of civil society are heard at national and international level. It is felt that since 1947 or even earlier, the happenings in Jammu and Kashmir state have been and are reported in a distorted manner, depending on the selfish motive of the individual or the organization or a political party concerned. So we are making an earnest effort to get the academic intelligence of Jammu and Kashmir state on one single platform and apprise the world about the true situation on ground and the real feelings of the masses in Jammu and Kashmir state. The general citizens and their voices are ignored by decision-making powers. Today, I have a galaxy of intellectuals from Jammu who would be analyzing the situation in Jammu Kashmir after de-operationalizing of Article 370 and 35A. We would discuss this evening that the de-operationalizing of Article 370 is a boom or a pain for the citizens of Jammu Kashmir who have been suffering from the dirge of your due to selfish motives of handful few and are condemned due to the misery. I now hand you over to Brigadier Dr. Vijay Sagar Dheman, convener of International Institute of Jammu and Kashmir Studies and Analysis, who will introduce you to the chief guests, the panel, and our distinguished guests. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Varun. Thank you so much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a pleasure and a matter of great honor for me to be in the presence of this distinguished intellectual from Jammu and host of other special guests from India and abroad. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the idea of IIJSA, that is International Institute of Jammu and Kashmir Studies and Analysis, was conceived by me after my retirement from the army. Well, post-retirement, while I was the Vice Chancellor of a university, I was also in touch with your think tanks in Delhi and abroad. And one such organization even offered me a fellowship. And I was too happy to accept that, but I explained to the management that my research on Jammu and Kashmir and the allied matters must take place within the precincts of Jammu and Kashmir state, so that I'm in close touch with the events as they happen and not as reported by some motivated, selfish segments, including that of media. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my efforts for 2 years did not bear fruits as it involved finances. And the managements were not ready for this kind of a venture to pay me some money to go and start my work in Jammu. And finally, one day on the advice of one of my counselors, our revered Mr. Narendra Shishodia, who will be joining us very soon, and he's also an ex-Director General of IIJSA, that is Institute of Defense Studies and Analysis. He advised me that I should not waste my time in this venture and must start something of my own. Well, I set out to configure a small research entity in Jammu, wherein today we are only 5 of us working on ground, and we have a patronage of about 35 intellectuals like you all who are keeping your hands on my head. So, well, most of the people are present over here also in this August gathering, who provided me with a lot of prudent advice, and I extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you. However, my words did not end here, and I guess God also wanted to test my resolve. Well, all preparations done by me had to be halted due to Corona outbreak. And now that the Corona restrictions have been partially eased out, so we decided at least we should go ahead with the webinars at least. We had plans to be offline, and same has been reflected in the approach paper which I have forwarded to all of you. And this is how the IIJSA is shaping up bit by bit, but surely there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I will now like to introduce you to our chief guest, Ambassador G Parthasarthi. Well, I'm so grateful to you, sir, that you accepted my invitation, and I'm so happy and elated that you are on the panel with me here, sir.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, Ambassador doesn't need any introduction. He's an international thinker, a prudent analyst, and whole world knows about him. And we all are aware of his tremendous experience in the areas of diplomacy, and especially in case of South Asia, wherein that he was, I think, so you had 3 tenures in Pakistan, if I'm not wrong, sir, including the one of an High Commissioner. And today also, government, whenever they wants prudent advice on this area, this region, and I'm sure, I know that Ambassador Parthasarthi is always there. So thank you very much, sir, and warm welcome to the portals of IIJSA.
Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, now we have a panel of speakers. First one in the line is Mr. JANDAIL. He is a career bureaucrat, having 40 years of experience in Jammu and Kashmir, all his life, and he knows each nerve of how things work in Jammu. And today we shall be honored to hear him for at least 10 to 15 minutes, which will be telling us what exactly is the situation after the operationalization of Article 370 and 35. Similarly, we have another intellectual from Jammu, who's Mr. Ashok Bhan, Dr. Ashok Bhan, I'm sorry, sir. He is the ex-Director General of Police, and again, he is a very, very expert, and he knows every bit of the security scenario in the Jammu and Kashmir. Then we have Lieutenant General PS MEHTA, a retired army officer, who is again a son of soil, but then he's had tremendous amount of tenure in Jammu and Kashmir in the insurgency areas, and he carries a lot of experience, actual hands-on experience in fighting with the terrorists. And a word about him, which he'll be telling in detail about himself, but I will tell you, he is also one of the victims of this entire gamut. At the so-called genocide of Pandits we talk about, it was also few minority Sikhs in the valley, of which he is one. And I take pride in being his friend, because his father belongs to the regiment which I belong to, that is 45 Retd. And then we have Dr. Virendra Gupta. He is an academician par excellence, and he's been into Jammu and Kashmir affairs for last more than 40 years. All his life he's been here, and he's been in the Jammu University, head of the department, and in various other capacities. He served the area very well. He's been in advisory role to the government many times, and there are forums like IIPA or Public Opinion Forum, such like local think tanks in Jammu, of which he is a very, very important constituent of. So these are the 4 speakers, and finally we'll request Ambassador Parthasarthi to give us his views about the whole thing. And now I will also introduce you to a few of our guests from abroad. We have Dr. Amjad Ayub Mishra, who will be joining us, Mirza, who's a human rights activist from Mirpur and TOJK, and now in exile in UK. He will soon be joining us. I think he also has some problems of connectivity problems, so he'll be joining in. And Mr. Virendra Sharma, who's an MP in UK, is already with us. A warm welcome to you, sir. Then I'm also expecting Ms. Lakshmi Kaul. She is an advisor of Bob Blackman, again an MP in UK, who's pro-India. And she also told me, just give me a phone, and she'll be liking very soon. Then we have Lalit Sharma, president of International Dogra Society. Manu Khajuria, she is also running a similar Dogra organization in UK. Then we have Simone from Switzerland, Vania from Portugal, Boyd from Canada, Tabindu from New York, Virti Kha from New Zealand, and of course, the final foreign guest of mine, my life, my friend, philosopher, guide, and everything for me is my daughter Kanika, who is the third.
Can I make a comment?
From anybody, you can address anybody directly.
I'm Rudy Warjri here. First of all, I'd like to thank Brigadier Dr. Vijay, Sagar, Dheman for enabling me to be in the midst of, among others, of course, an eminent colleague, a senior colleague of mine, Ambassador Parthasarthi. Now, you know, I've listened a lot. I mean, I have my knowledge about J and K, of course, I might say is very shallow, but I have learned a lot today. Now, I just want to make one point Now, in fact, I happen to be here today because yesterday we had another webinar on Act East policy, and it was being arranged by the Assam Rifles and USI Delhi. And that's how we met together with Brigadier Dheman. Now, talking about J&K, of course, and the abrogation of Article 370 and Article 35. Now, I think in what you have all mentioned, in terms of the purpose of the abrogation, the political action part of it, be it to check cross-border terrorism, be it for bringing in more integration to the rest of India, and be it that so much resources has gone into J&K and the development part of it has, has not taken place, which is also happening, in fact, in my own Northeast India, for that matter. Now, all these points, of course, to me is very much appreciated. But what is, I think the political action itself is okay to me. It is that this whole thing, what is being misunderstood also, in fact, in Northeast India, it's not only that it is political, but it's also a religion motivated. It's also, in fact, in the context of Northeast India, there's even an ethnic factor to it. So this is for people like me, sitting here, it has, it resonates together, right from J&K or all the way here. And in fact, what is happening now here, there, for instance, that time when the abrogation of Article 370 took place, similarly at about the same time, the CAA also took place. So you are saying in some way they're connected. There's an interconnection in it. So now what I'm trying to say is, look, here in Northeast India, for instance, is the great demand for the inner line permit, which was a colonial act. And that would prevent other Indians from coming here, which people like me is not in favor of that. We are fighting about it here locally to say, no, this is wrong. You cannot prevent other Indians from coming here. Because, I'm interested in more investment, more tourism, more. You can't have this kind of act, which will be taking it's happening in Nagaland already, it's happening in Manipur already. And actually, it makes it very difficult for fellow Indians also to go there. So these are some of the things which I want to make, because I said the political action part of it, I appreciate it a lot. But be careful about this religion part of it and the ethnic part of it. I want to make this point very clear. Because at the end of the day, as you said, in fact, Ambassador Parthasarthi, a united India. That is the concept which has to be clear. In fact, Brigadier Dheman, you said pluralistic. That has to be very clear to us. So thank you very much.